I want to take a minute and talk about artificial intelligence and the impact that this innovation has had on senior living today. Most of the conversations that we've been hearing about artificial intelligence has been focused around sales CRM efficiencies, which has given a lot of time back to sales directors so that they can better connect and spend more one-on-one time with prospective residents and their families. When it comes to fall detection and prevention, artificial intelligence has allowed teams to better understand why that resident fell in the first place. Also has allowed them to come up with more custom, individualized interventions to prevent that fall from happening again. This has allowed communities to drastically reduce their fall percentages. Both these things are great, but I do believe there is one area where we are underutilizing artificial intelligence. That's when it comes to caregiver training. Let's take a minute and think about everything we ask a caregiver to do on a daily basis. We expect them to be able to manage difficult dementia behaviors, respond to emergencies, navigate emotionally complex situations, such as de-escalating an intense conversation with an upset family member who came into the community that day. We also expect them to be able to deliver compassionate, resident-centered care. Oftentimes, we ask them to do this within the first few weeks of starting the job. But how do we prepare them for all of this? Most companies still utilize the standardized classroom setting. Or we set them in front of a computer and tell them to watch 40 hours of video. After they're done with that, we have them shadow a tenured team member who has probably picked up some bad habits along the way. Once they're done shadowing, we check them off on a couple of paper competencies, and now they're ready to hit the floor. But this method is outdated, and quite frankly, it was designed for a different care era. Today, residents' acuity is higher than ever. Dementia cases are rapidly rising, and we're facing a workforce shortage, which has forced us to onboard quicker, train more consistently, and retain staff for longer. But traditional training methods are difficult to scale, inconsistent across communities within the same company even, and are limited in giving caregivers those real-world situations. And the impact is real. It's resulting in longer onboarding times, higher turnover rates, and missed opportunities to elevate resident care. This is where I believe artificial intelligence, more specifically immersive artificial intelligence, is being greatly underutilized in our industry. Not to replace caregivers, but to better prepare them, to give them a safe environment to practice and learn, to build empathy because they'll be able to experience things from the resident's point of view, to improve decision-making before they ever face these situations with residents. What if training wasn't something caregivers just completed, but something they experienced? What if we could standardize high quality of care across every community within a company, regardless of their location or their staffing? What you're about to see is one example of how this is already taking shape. So let's sit back and take a look. The future of senior living depends on caregivers who are confident, prepared, and supported. But today's training models were not designed for rising acuity, workforce shortages, or the realities of dementia care. Senior living is at a crossroads. Resident acuity is increasing. More than 6.9 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's today. That means more residents are entering our communities with complex cognitive needs, and that number is expected to nearly double by 2050. Workforce shortages are intensifying. It is suspected that the industry will need more than 1.2 million new caregivers by 2030. Operations are being asked to deliver higher quality of care with tighter margins. In this environment, training is no longer just operational support. It's one of the most important drivers of quality, safety, and workforce stability. So, what if every caregiver could practice difficult moments before they ever happened in real life? This isn't the future of training, it's already here. Kaleidoscope XR is redefining how caregivers learn. They've developed the Caregiver VR, which is a multi user virtual reality platform designed specifically for senior living and long term care. It enables immersive, realistic, and consistent training. It places staff inside an immersive real world care scenarios where they can interact, respond, and improve in real time. No classrooms, no passive learning, just hands-on experience in a safe environment. Now let's take a listen to how this innovation got started from one of the creators of Caregiver VR, Oli Siska.
Caregiver VR was actually born out of a need during COVID. The Bethany Care Society, which is a long-term care facility here in Calgary, had multiple locations, and the trainer had to go from location to location to location to facilitate everybody. So what they wanted was a centralized way that they could train multiple locations at the same time. It all started with virtual reality, and it progressed into seeing the value of that multi-user tool, like being able to get people together in a room. That dementia piece of Caregiver VR became just the next natural thing for the training. It's one thing to read something, and it's another thing to actually experience it. And what makes virtual reality so amazing is it's experiential. So you're actually using all your senses, you're using your visual, auditory, and kinetic, and then you're doing. So we learn a lot more by doing than just reading and being passive, very passive. Auditory is passive, visual is passive, experiential is very active. So it really leaves, it's 7 times more effective in terms of memory retention. It's incredible when you watch somebody go through the experience. They put on the headset and they come out. When they come out, they've had an aha moment. Because when you're in there and when you're actually experiencing symptoms, it's so challenging. And somebody can tell you till they're blue in the face of how difficult it must be, and if you have visual hallucinations or auditory hallucinations. But until you're there and you're trying to have a conversation with someone and all this stuff is happening, I don't think a description to someone or reading about it or watching it even would have the same impact. Just a personal share. I knew what we were building when we were building Caregiver, and I knew the dementia piece we were building. But when I went in the first time and I came out, I cried. It was so powerful. Virtual reality is just one of them, where we can convey information in a better way, and we can really turn out some amazing skills and some amazing empathy. And that's one of the biggest pieces with VR. It creates empathy. It makes you feel. So its impact is there. And I think the issue right now, the issue always comes down to funding. Is there enough funding to train people, right? And so even if the institution has the best intentions, it can be very difficult to do that investment. And I think that's what needs to happen, is that investment in training. Because we know that a better trained workforce is more satisfied, lowers turnover, there's more it just makes sense that training should be a key component of what we do in that industry.
With Caregiver VR, caregivers and trainers meet inside a shared virtual environment. The trainer can be located anywhere, while caregivers join from their own communities. Inside that space, training becomes interactive. Scenarios unfold in real time, Caregivers respond to the residents' behaviors. Trainers can pause, guide, and adjust. This allows learning to happen in the moment, not after the fact. Caregivers don't just observe, they participate. They step into a realistic scenario, including dementia-related behaviors, communication and de-escalation, fall prevention and mobility, emergency responses, and infection control. These are the moments that define care, and now they can be practiced, not just discussed. What makes this environment even more powerful is the layer of AI-enhanced coaching. The system analyzes how caregivers respond, including communication, timing, and safety decisions. This allows instructors to provide immediate, personalized feedback, such as try acknowledging the resident's emotions before redirecting them. Adjust your body positioning to reduce the risk of fall. This creates a private, judgment-free environment where caregivers can build skills and confidence. One of the most powerful parts of this experience is perspective. In dementia simulations, caregivers don't just respond, they experience what the residents experience. The cognitive confusion, the sensory overload, and the feeling of losing control. And that changes how care is delivered. Caregiver VR is built for real-world operations. Operations can start small and scale quickly. It integrates into onboarding, ongoing education, and competency trainings. And because it's virtual, every caregiver receives the same high-quality experience regardless of their location. There's no travel, no duplicate training efforts, no inconsistencies. One system, delivered everywhere. The impact goes beyond just training. Organizations see faster onboarding, more confident staff, and stronger retention. Teams are better prepared for high-risk situations, reducing incidents and improving overall care quality. Senior living is evolving quickly. Expectations are higher. Residents have more complex needs. And teams are being asked to do more faster. The organizations that succeed will be the ones who prepare their caregivers differently. Kaleidoscope XR isn't just changing training, it's changing how caregivers prepare for the moment that matters most.